morning and welcome to Intro to Calc. I'm Miss Cortez.
Am I the only one taking this class?
I know this isn't a popular course, but I thought more people would be taking it.
Sorry I'm late. How long do we have to be here for? Do you know?
We just got here.
So long.
Alright, let's just get started. We'll start with the derivative.
What's the derivative?
It's the slope of a tangent line. So you have your function, let's say equals 4x squared. To take the derivative of this function, you use like a little apostrophe, which you call your prime, f of x, and then what you do is you multiply your power to the front, so 2 times 4 is 8, and then you subtract 1 from your power, so you have 8x.
Alright, all this calculus is getting me kind of hungry and parched.
Can we get some examples?
Alright, here's your examples. Your first one is function f of x equals x squared plus 2x plus 3. And then your second example will be f of x equals, let's do x cubed plus 4x squared plus 3x plus 2. Alright, I think you guys have the hang of it, so let's try number 2. Alright, there are 3 rules with the derivative: the product rule, the quotient rule, and the chain rule.
Can we just start with the easiest one?
Sure, that's a good idea. Let's start with the product rule. The general form of the product rule is f of g equals f of the derivative of g plus the derivative of f times g. So an example would be, let's just do f of 4x times 3x squared. To do this, you take the derivative of 4x, which is just 4, and you multiply it by this function, which is 3x squared. And then you add the derivative of this, well, you could put this one in first, so you do this function to 4x, and then after that, you would do the derivative of this, which is 6x. And then you can leave it there. You don't have to simplify it. If you really wanted to, you can.
Does it matter which function you take the derivative of first?
No, for the product rule, it doesn't matter which function you take the derivative.
Can we move on to the next one?
Is that okay with you, Becky?
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, so our next rule is the quotient rule. And basically the quotient rule is a function divided by the function. So you'll have fx over g of x. And your derivative would be g prime of x times f of x minus, so the difference between here and the product rule is the subtraction sign. Then you go f prime of x times g of x, I wrote that wrong, all over g of x, which is the bottom one, squared. So an example would be x squared over 4 plus x. So the derivative of this is f prime of x, your function, f prime of x equals, equals, this is 1 times the top, so it'd be x squared minus the bottom, and the derivative of the top, which is 2x, all over the bottom squared. And then you can just leave it as that. You don't need to simplify.
Does it matter which function we take the derivative of first?
For the quotient rule, yes, it does matter. You take the derivative of the bottom function first. So an example would be f of x equals 4x cubed all over x squared plus 3x. So you'd have to take the derivative of this first, which would just be 2x plus 3, and then you multiply it by the function up top. And then you continue on, which would be, you take the function of this, would be 12x squared times x squared plus 3x, all over the bottom function.
So, this is a waste of time. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Can we work on some examples?
Yeah, sure. You have 5 minutes to work on examples 3 and 4 by yourself. If you need any help, just ask me.
Okay, that makes sense. Can we move on to the chain rule?
Yes, let's move on to the chain. Okay, so the chain rule is basically when you're taking the derivative of a function inside of another function. So you have g prime of x, f prime of x. It's easier to explain when you have like numbers inside of it. So your function is going to equal x squared plus 7. That's your one function. Inside of another function, which would be 2. So what you do is you move your power to the front. So you have f prime of x equals power to the front. And you multiply it to the function inside, which is x squared plus 7. And then after you do that, you take the derivative of the inside function, which would be 2x, which is just it. And then you can leave it as that, or you can simplify.
Can we try some problems on our own?
Yes, go ahead and try some problems on your own. Alright, so if you master the derivative, you have a better chance of succeeding in calc. So when in doubt, just take the derivative. And go.
Can we take a break, please?
There's only 30 minutes left of class.
Alright, let's talk about the definite integral. The definite integral represents the area of a function under a function from a to b. So we're only learning the definite integral now, and you'll learn the indefinite integral in Calc 101.
Okay. All right, that's good because learning one thing is enough.
Alright, we're going to talk about the antiderivative, because in a definite integral you need to take the antiderivative of the function. So for an antiderivative, you just have your power, you add 1, and then you divide by what that new power is. So 4x would be 4x and then squared all over that new power, which is 2. Then you simplify it to be 2x squared.
Can we try it on our own now?
Do we have to?
Well, you can try it on your own, but also for more complicated problems of the definite integral, you use substitution, but you don't get into that until calculus. Okay, for the definite integral, how you do that is you take the antiderivative of this, which is, so you have the integral of 0 to 1 of x to the 5th over 5, and then, which would be dx, and then it's equal to x to the 5th over 5. Then you have this little bracket, and you do 0 to 1. And then you plug those in, so you have, and then subtract what you get from there to what you get from here. So you do 1 over 5 minus 0. So your answer to this is 1/5.
Is that all we're gonna learn today in calc?
Calc related, yes, but I'm going to teach you a few tips of what I think you need to succeed in calc.
Participate?
Yes, also with participation, you need to do your homework, ask questions, and persevere when things.
After all this learning, I've decided I'm not going to be continuing my calc study.
I feel like I'm ready to succeed next year.
All right, well, good luck and have a nice day.